Hello, it's a pleasure to have you here. More evacuation flights, more Nigerians preparing to leave South Africa, and growing concern that the security situation may not be improving. As xenophobic attacks and anti-migrant protests continue to generate anxiety, the Nigerian government has expanded its emergency evacuation program, preparing to bring home another 270 citizens. The latest operation comes as Abuja renews its appeal for Nigerians who believe they are at risk to leave while transportation remains available. The bigger question is this: why has Nigeria decided to extend the evacuation program? And what does this reveal about the security situation facing Nigerians in South Africa? Beyond the immediate logistics of bringing citizens home, the decision reflects growing diplomatic concern over the safety of migrants, the persistence of anti-foreigner sentiments, and the difficult choices confronting thousands of Nigerians living abroad. According to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the federal government has scheduled a fourth special evacuation flight to repatriate approximately 270 Nigerians from South Africa. The operation will be carried out by Air Peace, with the aircraft expected to depart Lagos for Johannesburg before returning with registered evacuees. Officials say the flight forms part of Nigeria's ongoing voluntary evacuation program for citizens who wish to leave South Africa because of worsening security concerns. The ministry explained that the aircraft is scheduled to depart Lagos at about 3:30 p.m., while the return flight from Johannesburg is expected to leave around midnight before arriving at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport in Lagos early the following morning. Subject to operational conditions, the government described the mission as another phase of its coordinated efforts to assist Nigerians who have registered for evacuation. The latest flight follows 3 previous evacuation operations organized by the federal government. Initially, the program had been expected to conclude by the end of June. However, President Bola Tinubu approved an extension after authorities concluded that many Nigerians still wish to return and that security concerns remained unresolved. The extension allows additional flights to accommodate those who may not have been able to leave during the earlier phases of the operation. Nigeria's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Bianca Odumegwu Ojukwu, said the government remains deeply concerned about the safety of Nigerians living in South Africa. In a statement published on her official Twitter account, the minister referred to the recent death of 2 Nigerian citizens, Musa Yonana Joe and Charles Orebu, describing the incidents as further evidence of the dangers confronting some members of the Nigerian community. She stated that Nigeria continues to monitor developments closely while maintaining diplomatic engagements with South African authorities. The minister also renewed Nigeria's demand for thorough investigations into the deaths. According to her, those responsible should be identified, investigated, and prosecuted in accordance with South African law. The federal government has consistently maintained that accountability is essential to restoring confidence among Nigerians living in South Africa and preventing further attacks on foreign nationals. At the same time, Abuja is encouraging Nigerians who believe their lives are at risk to make use of the available evacuation flights. Ambassador Odumegwu Ojukwu emphasized that while homes, businesses, and investments can eventually be rebuilt, lives can never be replaced. She urged citizens who remain undecided to carefully assess their personal safety before deciding whether to remain in South Africa or return to Nigeria under the government-sponsored program. One of the most striking aspects of the minister's statement was her assessment of current conditions. She said there was no signs that the situation is improving, suggesting that Nigerian authorities remain unconvinced that the security environment has stabilized sufficiently for vulnerable citizens to remain without concern. That assessment helps explain why the government has decided to continue allocating resources to evacuation efforts beyond the original deadline. The Nigerian government has also announced that another evacuation aircraft is expected to travel to Johannesburg, while what has been described as the final scheduled evacuation flight is expected to arrive in South Africa later in the week. Officials have therefore described the current phase as an important opportunity for registered Nigerians who still wish to return before the program concludes. The evacuation program comes against the backdrop of recurring xenophobic violence that has affected South Africa over several years. Periodic attacks targeting foreign nationals have often been linked to economic hardship, unemployment, social tensions, and frustration over immigration. While many South Africans reject xenophobia and continue to support peaceful coexistence, outbreaks of violence in some communities have repeatedly raised concerns among African governments whose citizens live and work in the country. Nigeria has consistently emphasized that the vast majority of its citizens residing in South Africa are law-abiding individuals contributing positively to their communities through business, education, healthcare, construction, hospitality, and other sectors of the economy. Nigerian officials have argued that criminal actions committed by individuals should not be used to stereotype an entire nationality or justify hostility towards innocent migrants. South African authorities, meanwhile, have repeatedly stated that they remain committed to enforcing the country's law while investigating criminal acts regardless of the nationality of those involved. In previous incidents involving anti-foreigner violence, South African leaders have publicly condemned attacks on migrants while pledging to restore public order. The outcome of current investigation into recent deaths and attacks is therefore likely to influence future diplomatic discussion between Pretoria and Abuja. Migration experts note that voluntary evacuation programs present both humanitarian and economic challenges. Returning migrants often leave behind businesses, employment, property, and years of personal investment built in their host country. Many also return to uncertain economic conditions in Nigeria, where employment opportunities remain limited. While evacuation provides immediate physical safety for those at risk, successful reintegration often requires longer-term support to help returnees rebuild their lives. The latest evacuation also illustrates the responsibilities governments face in protecting citizens overseas. Consular services, diplomatic engagements, emergency transportation, and support for affected families all form part of a government's duty towards nationals living abroad. In situations involving widespread unrest or targeted violence, evacuation becomes one of the most visible expressions of that responsibility. Diplomatic observers believe the current situation will continue to test relations between Nigeria and South Africa, two of Africa's largest economies and most influential regional powers. Both countries cooperate extensively in trade, security, peacekeeping, education, and continental affairs. While disagreements occasionally arise, both governments also recognize the importance of maintaining constructive bilateral relations capable of addressing shared challenges. As additional evacuation flights continue, many Nigerians in South Africa face difficult personal decisions. Some remain determined to protect businesses and livelihoods they have spent years building. Others have concluded that personal safety must come first. The federal government has made its position clear. Citizens who believe they are in danger should make use of the evacuation program while assistance remains available. The success of this operation will not only be measured by the number of people brought home safely, but also by continued diplomatic efforts to ensure that Nigerians living abroad can do so without fear of violence or discrimination. If you found this report informative, please share your thoughts in the comments below. Like, share, and subscribe for more news reports. I'm Chidera Eso. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next reports.